Madness in the Method, the podcast where we talk about Nicolas Cage and his prolific career. We try to figure out where everything went wrong, or maybe it's always been wrong or right. I don't know. I'm not sure. That's part of the journey. And my name is Tobias, and with me, as always, is my friend and trusted co-host Christopher.
Hello, everyone.
Hello. And today we are continuing forward in season 2 of this podcast. We wrapped up season 1 late last year, and we have now we started up last week with season 2, where he has fully moved into the Hollywood territory after the first 10-12 years of his career trying out different things. So last week, of course, was The Rock, his first big, Hollywood blockbuster. Which I think we both kind of... I guess I disliked it more than you did. But I don't think either of us liked it that much.
No, not really.
No. However, that was 96. This is a year later now. It's 97, and he is doing yet another Jerry Bruckheimer movie. But it's not... directed by Michael Bay. It's directed by what's his name? Simon West. It's Con Air. Which is that like a meme movie at this point? I think I've seen some stuff.
There are definitely memes from it. But I'm not sure it's a meme movie.
No, but it feels like people definitely remember and reminisce over this more than The Rock, right?
Oh yeah, this is more of a. It's more an example. This is a movie you would use as an example of a stupid action movie that men likes in a sitcom.
Yes, yeah.
It's more in that vein than The Rock is, I'd say.
Yeah. We'll just step right into it, because we don't need to talk about the plot. It's a bunch of convicts on an airplane. They're being moved around from different prisons to other prisons. Nicolas Cage is, of course, he's up for release. He's been in prison for 7 or 8 years for manslaughter.
He's sentenced to 8 to 10, but he's gonna be released now 7 years.
Exactly. He was protecting his wife, and accidentally murdered a man. In the first 2 minutes of the movie. We'll get into that. Anyway, so he's being released. So he's hitching a ride on this plane. But unfortunately, some of the other inmates or convicts don't want to just go to another prison, so they decide to hijack the plane, and hilarity ensues. That's basically the plot. There's this later in the movie, this subplot of the convicts who take over the plane actually having been contracted by some foreign drug cartel guy who's also on the plane. They're supposed to free him and get a bunch of money, but they kind of start that plot up and then dispense of it pretty quickly.
This is one of those movies which have so many plots and small plot threads throughout the movie that isn't really connected to each other.
Yeah.
That you sort of can pick and choose which do I like to care about.
Yes.
So you go through the movies these 4 characters are my favorite, so I'm going to follow these. But there are 50 characters that you can follow if you want to. But so there's just a lot of things that doesn't really matter for the big whole.
So what you're telling me is that this could actually be one of those movies they remake as a limited series now.
Oh, definitely, 100%.
Because it takes place over it's a 4-hour plane ride, but they manage to stretch that out over 20 hours because it's different plots, and you go back and forth.
Yeah, and you just follow one character for every episode.
Yeah.
Throughout the entire story arc. Yeah, that 100% you could do that. I don't know if it would. I don't think it would be good.
No,
but
of
you
course
could.
It's like when they turned shit, what's it called? From Dusk Till Dawn, a nice 90-minute action horror movie into a 10-hour TV show.
Oh yeah.
Well, no, we had like a season 2 or whatever. I don't know.
Really? Oh.
Yeah, I think that would pass the movie. Anyway, yes.
So, have you seen this movie before?
Yes, I've seen it. Maybe not very many times, but I've seen it sometimes before. A few times. I thought I owned it, but I don't.
Oh. Okay.
Or if I do, it's not where it should be in my collection, because I'm looking at the CON section, and it's not there. I watched it on Disney Plus. That's where I had it.
Oh, it's on Disney Plus.
Yeah, it's because it's 20th Century Fox, right? I mean, Disney owns Fox now, so.
Well.
No, it's
also,
it's
you have
Touchstone.
Disney Plus.
It's Touchstone. It's owned by Disney since years ago. Yeah, well, no, my sister has Disney Plus. I just leech off of her.
Fair enough. Yeah. So, and last time you saw it, first time you saw it, when was that, and what did you think of it then?
I can't remember exactly when I saw it the first time, but I do remember that I liked it the first time. I was pretty young, probably, like in my early teens, or maybe in like what is it called, tweens?
I guess.
But then rewatching it, like not that long ago, maybe 2 or 3 years ago, I did not like it at all. I thought it was a terrible movie. I don't know what it was. So I was a little worried going into it now that there would be a repeat of The Rock, but I gotta say, I quite enjoyed it this time.
What?
I thought it was real fun. It was yeah, like you said, it was a quintessential run of the mill, like cheesy action movie, but done very, very well.
Yeah. So me as well. I saw it at early age. Can't say when, but probably around about probably 14, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
Because I know this movie is on television. It was always on television.
It was a lot on television in like the early 2000s. Yeah.
Yeah, and I know for a fact it still is as regular on television, because I saw it on TV like when I was at my parents like a year ago.
Oh, okay.
I didn't see it the entire movie, but I saw because this movie I've seen it when I was a kid. I saw it, and then since then I've seen the beginning and the middle and the end a lot. But I'd never seen the beginning in years. But it's usually on TV. I put it on. Oh, is this movie? And then I keep watching it. So I did that like a year ago. So I know it's still on TV.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't watch TV, so I don't.
No, me neither. It's when I'm visiting my parents. That happens.
Yeah, sure.
But anyway, so I know I liked it first time I saw it. I have revisited it, and I'd say during the years I always think it was a pretty fun action movie, but not really a good movie.
Yeah.
Fun movie. I do own it. I have it on DVD. I know somewhere. And yeah, so that's what I was going into. Like, yeah, this would probably be better, more fun at least than The Rock. And it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny because The Rock is still pretty fresh in my mind since we're recording this just a week later. This is such a I think it's very easy to compare them because they're both produced by the same guy, Jerry Bruckheimer. Now without Don Simpson, since he coked himself out of existence between then and now. But it definitely has the same vibe. You can really feel that the Jerry Bruckheimer influence on this, but it does not have the bloated, insane direction of Michael Bay.
Yeah.
So instead, Simon West hasn't a great track record for directing movies. This is his biggest hit, really. He's done some other stuff I've seen, but it's mostly like, mid-budget action movies. He did the first Tomb Raider movie, which is not great, but it's not bad.
He did make Recast Never Gonna Give You Up music video.
Ah, okay. Yeah, that's pretty good. And he did. I'm sort of a fan of The Mechanic, the Jason Statham movie, which I think is a remake of a 70s movie. And he did do that. That was probably when I rewatched it the last time. Actually, it's just a while ago now, because he made The Expendables 2, and The Expendables. Excuse me. The Expendables movies are a guilty pleasure of mine, but not even I like the second one. And I remember rewatching then The Mechanic and Con Air during that time, because it was Simon West. And it was just like, yeah, he's not a good director. But now I haven't rewatched Expendables 2 since then, so I don't know. But like I said, rewatching Con Air now is like, no, it's pretty good.
But I think the biggest, if we are comparing, because you're right, it's very easy to compare The Rock and Con Air.
Yes.
So around the same time, same producers, very similar. Well, not similar story, but similar ballpark.
Yeah, the concept is it's almost like a Die Hard movie. Die Hard on a plane, while The Rock is not really like a Die Hard movie, but you could almost say it's like a Die Hard in Alcatraz. Almost.
Yeah, and I think the biggest difference, what works in this one and didn't work in Rock, is this movie, they are really it's very tight about what gets screen time.
Yes.
Because as I said, this movie has a lot of characters. I think there are like 15 or something, 10, 15 inmates that have names.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And a backstory and a character, sort of. And then we have cops on that, and we have this whole side story with the DEA, and it's a lot of things. Yeah. But every character's, the introduction is like, okay, this guy is this, he's bad because of this. Okay, next guy, he's this and this and this. And there's none of this bloated stuff that we had in the first one, where we got like, first one, what was that? The last movie we watched. The last movie we watched, The Rock, where we get like 15 to 20 minutes to explain one guy. Here we get the worst guy, Cyrus the Virus, who's the big bad baddie guy. Yeah. His introduction is like 30 seconds.
Yeah, and then we get what we need to know about him, but then even beyond that, we do gradually get to know more about him throughout the actions he takes during the movie,
Yeah, and every more action that develops a character or everything drives the story forward in some way. Yes. Everything is interested and needed, and it's tight.
There is no 35-minute car chase that leads to nothing.
Yeah, exactly. There's no action scene or anything that you can actually cut out in this movie. Of the action, that is. No, and I mean, because it is needed for the plot, every specific one. There are a few dialogue scenes that you could cut out.
Sure,
but the action is essential for the plot, everyone.
Yes, it's all part of the plot. And I have to attribute that then to the director. Because it is the same producers. It's basically, I wouldn't say it's the same team, but it is the same. Sort of the same team making the movie, but with a different director. And he seems to just have more, control of the situation. Basically, there are definite like where you can see the influence of Bruckheimer, like stepping into like the editing or maybe even the directing. There's a lot of pickups and inserts everywhere, but not as much as in The Rock. So everything is it's The Rock, but toned down and more focused, which is exactly what The Rock needed. If The Rock was Con Air, it would have been a great movie.
If it was a different movie, it would be good.
Yeah. No, but I mean, like we talked about when we did The Rock, like it needed to be cut down by like 20, 25 minutes almost.
Yeah.
And that's what this Con Air is. It's just below 2 hours. It's a perfect length. There's very little fat. All the action is like actually needed to tell the story. It's everything that The Rock isn't.
Yeah. But that said, this movie still have a lot of issues.
Sure, yeah, it's
a lot of them.
Far from perfect.
But at least the issues aren't that it's boring.
No, yeah, exactly.
You're entertained, you're having fun throughout the movie. But one thing, I'd say the biggest issue with this movie, the biggest problem with the movie, why this movie will never be a quote-unquote great movie, is because this is the worst Mary Sue main character ever created on movie.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, Nicolas Cage, he is the perfect person throughout the entire movie.
Sure, yeah.
And and he can't do anything wrong, and he is so good and the best in everything. And it's grating. I would say he's the worst part of the movie. Not Nicolas Cage acting, but that character
really
is the worst.
Because I of course, since I wrote about this on Letterboxd yesterday, and I'm in complete opposite of you. For me, he's the best part of the movie.
What?
Everything about him. I mean, he's just such a like he
the perfect person.
Yes, he is. I mean,
how is that not grating? A person who has no grace. There's no gray. He's just perfect in every way.
Well, he isn't. I mean, they literally set him up as a flawed person because he does, out of like rage, even though it's to protect his family, he kills a person and has to he's punished for it. So I mean,
yeah, but it's not.
Other than that, sure, he is.
It's not that he kills a person. No, he alone fights 3 guys in the rain with knives, and they are coming at him, and he's just too good. They can't stand up to him. It's come on. If it was one guy in an alley, that would be fine. But no, there's gotta be 3 guys, and it's just
Well, I mean,
and he has this fucking roundhouse kicked everyone all the time.
He is a
yeah, he's a deadly weapon. He's an army ranger.
He's an army ranger against 3 drunks. So that didn't bother me at all. I thought. I mean, I think that.
But I mean, the thing is that even his like biggest mistake is him being cool and protecting his woman.
Yes.
And it's just a misunderstanding. It was self-defense, but the city, they didn't understand it because he's just too strong. They have to restrain him. Put him in jail.
But isn't that kind of an admirable trait though?
Yes, but not. But that's but it's still a Mary Sue. I mean, that's the problem. That it is good qualities, all of it, but everything can't be good qualities. There has to be something more. He has to have some vice. No, he sits in jail and he reads poetry and he learns all the languages in the world. And when the riot starts, he sits in his cell and he's cool and he's writing to his daughter and then he's gonna get the present to her. But no, his friend is diabetic and he won't survive, so he has to sacrifice himself and help everyone and save the day. It's just
I think you're embellishing a little bit. I mean, there is an element of Mary Sue-ishness to him, I suppose. But I mean, he's not like, I don't know. I mean, it's more that it's not that he. I gotta try to spin this so it doesn't sound like I'm just defending a Mary Sue character because I don't like Mary Sue's.
I know you don't. That's why I'm surprised that you.
I didn't
agreed with this character.
I didn't see it that way.
I see this is the biggest Mary Sue of any character in cinema. I'm gonna say it.
Well,
there's just this, and also this thing at the end of the movie when they are on the ground. The plane is down. His friend is getting to the hospital. He's his wife is there, but no, he gotta stop the bad guy. He gotta get on that motorcycle and go after. Why? Why does he have to do that? Because he is the hero and he needs to save everyone, save the day. Oh, for fuck's sake.
Well, it is that kind of a movie, though. I mean, he couldn't just, well, there's Cyrus the Virus, bye-bye. Anyway,
yeah, obviously that's that kind of movie. It's a Mary Sue movie.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. But you can't defend the Mary Sue character by saying, well, that's the movie.
No, but I mean, how would you make him more flawed? Like, what would you change about his character to make him not be Mary Sue? Because there's no situation in the movie that you could really change that much.
Well, specifically that situation I just described, he could just go to his family. He doesn't need to go after the bad guy because he did what he was supposed to do.
Yeah, but that's
we
not the character.
We could just change things, like maybe that he didn't have a choice to go down, and maybe not everything that made the police find them was through Nicolas Cage. None of it was through police work. Everything was Nicolas Cage, because he hid the recorder in the guys who went off the plane. He drew the thing on Chappelle's body when they threw him out. He did everything. Could someone else do that? Maybe there's other good people on the plane. Maybe not everything is one character. Maybe the police could do some job, maybe. There's a lot of changes you can make. You don't need to make him the central part of everything.
I'm not buying it. He is alone on the plane, except for his friend who is.
Yeah, but why? Why do we have to do that?
But,
why do we have to do that?
Why? I don't know, because everyone.
Because it's a Mary Sue.
I don't know. Would you call John McClane a Mary Sue then? Because he's the only one. I mean, he's the only one that actually does anything productive in at least the first Die Hard. Sure, Reginald Vell Johnson shoots the guy in the end, but that's just one bullet,
Yeah, but I would bet that if John McClane could get his wife, he would get out of there. Nicolas Cage did not in this one.
But that's
Cameron Poe, was he called? Of course, he's called Cameron Poe.
Yeah, but come on, that's like the last 10 minutes. I agree that the movie should have ended when the plane crashes on the Las Vegas Strip. I agree to that. That last like bike/fire truck chase is unnecessary.
Yeah.
But I mean, disregarding that, I wouldn't call him a Mary Sue. He's an action hero. It's like Arnold Schwarzenegger in Commando. Like, he is indestructible, but that's part of the charm of the movie. I don't see this as like a series. Like, that's why I call it like cheesy. And it's a 90s action movie. It's not supposed to be taken seriously. So it doesn't bother me that the character is sort of unrealistic.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying he's unrealistic. I'm not saying that. I understand those things, but he is perfect. He has no flaws. That's what I'm saying.
Well, but he does have flaws.
Like
the fact that
okay, he hates his wife and doesn't want to see her. I guess that's a flaw. I guess.
What? He hates his wife?
Yeah, he has like four situations where he can just leave the plane and go home to his wife, and he's like, "No, I need to help everyone."
Oh, okay. Well, I wasn't thinking about that. I was thinking that the very first thing they do in the movie is set up that he is flawed. The fact that he can't like can restrain himself. He accidentally murders a person. But then because of the circumstances of his life, she even mentions that in the bar before they fight it outside in the rain. That for a second there I saw the old Poe or the old Cameron. I thought that guy was gone, but he is, baby, he is. But then the old Cameron shows up and he murders that guy or kills him, I suppose.
Yeah,
and that's
again, it's not it. That's again, that's fair. If that would have been in a different way, but no, this is actually three people with knives coming after him and his wife, and in that moment, it is self-defense, and I think it is defendable that he kills one of them.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I wouldn't say that's a flaw. I don't say that's a big flaw that makes his character flawed, because he did something. He did it right. He did a good. I'd say he didn't do a bad thing. It was an accident. It was manslaughter, and that's not a big flaw, I'd say. So I don't think anything else. Do you have any more flaws that he has than this specific thing? We both agree that he probably didn't do that bad.
No, because the rest of the movie takes place over like 3 hours. We don't get to know the character much beyond, the montage in the beginning of the prison, and
now you're saying that it can't be a Mary Sue because the time frame is too short. Is that what you're saying?
Well, I mean, I think there's a difference between a character that is, I don't know how to explain it. There's a difference between a Mary Sue and just a character that is good at things.
What is the difference?
I don't know. I would have to do.
It's fine to like a Mary Sue character. It is fine.
Yeah, but I don't see it as a Mary Sue character.
I can't see how it isn't.
Because, well, if I'm bad at thinking, like, trying to make up stuff on the spot. Figure out stuff on the spot like this. But part of being a Mary Sue is also that you're like admired and respected by everyone around you. He's not really. To some extent, by John Cusack, yes. And the guard that he saved, but that's because he saved her.
So, yeah, the good guys admire him.
What? Well, yeah, of course they do, because he's a good guy. I don't know, why wouldn't they like him? I mean, it's... The movie is not complex or deep enough to have, like, nuanced characters like that. I don't see Cameron Poe being, like, quote-unquote perfect a problem. I don't.
That's fine. You don't have to see it as a problem. That's fine.
I'm just trying to wrap my head around, like... how you could not love this character. I mean, he's, oh my god, he is like, he is a fucking beacon of hope among men. He's a specimen.
It's just
he's I think also he's one of those characters in movies or in books or whatever that I really admire. He's like what the fuck's his name? Bradley Thomas in Brawl in Cell Block 99. Like sure he has like a dark past, a criminal past even, but he has very strong principles. He has like he is 100% devoted to his family. He has let go of that dark past, but it does bubble up when he needs it to. He's very stoic, and I love those kind of characters. One of my favorite.
You're allowed to.
Okay.
You're allowed to.
One of my favorite movies last year, The Card Counter, had another one of those characters. It's just like, it was so fucking good.
You're allowed to. I'm just saying. When we were watching the movie, me and my girlfriend, we were going throughout the movie. We were going, of course he's doing that. Yeah, of course it's him. Because someone else to know. Of course he did it.
No, there is no one else. So he must step up to the plate.
Yeah, and again, I think that was the big thing. When we sort of just started laughing when he jumped on that motorcycle at the end. Of course, your wife and daughter is there. Come on.
Well, of course he had.
No, I gotta get him. And it's just,
if he hadn't, that would be so anticlimactic.
But don't put that shit in there.
Yeah,
then.
I know.
We don't need it.
I know. That scene is completely unnecessary.
Yeah.
They should have just arrested Cyrus in the plane wreckage. I know.
Yeah.
But now it is there, so he has to do it.
The only thing that's missing to really perfect the Poe arc is if they were doing him and Cyrus the Virus having a bloody fist fight on the plane at the end. That's the only thing that's missing. But yeah, so I like the movie. It's very entertaining. I'm having a lot of fun throughout the movie. I think Poe is the weakest part of the movie.
Oh my god.
I think one of what would made the movie a little better, I'd say, which would have been fun. That's if we cut out all the beginning and we started on the plane.
Yes,
and then we get to find out who every character is, even the good guys, while on the plane at the same rate as we figure out the bad guys.
Yeah, I had a similar thought when I was watching it, because it is really strange to introduce the character the way they do. 'Cause the way they introduce it is very Michael Bay. It starts out with the Army Rangers are the best of the best, they're the greatest ever. That's kind of like explaining the Mary Sue. Like, no one is as strong as you are. You have defended us in every war, and blah, 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 blah. And then literally 2 minutes later, he's murdering a drunk for hitting on his wife. He's like, okay, and we don't even know the character yet. So it would be nicer, to just let the fact that he is on this plane be more of a dark past, but he's put that behind him now, and damn it, they're forcing me to be this man again.
I think that would also solve some of the Mary Sue issues that I have.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah,
because we don't see we're not because that's what the beginning does. It's prepping us to see this guy is perfect. He's a good guy. Look at him in his cell learning Spanish and sending notes to his daughter, and the riots are going on, and he's writing a heartfelt note, and it's not so bad here in prison. I'm making a lot of friends. I'm going to come home and visit you soon.
Yeah.
And it would have been more interesting. I could have bought the Mary Sue thing if we didn't know his backstory. If he was just doing his best with the situation. And even not really finding out until halfway or even further that he is going to see his wife. Then you only think he's a good inmate, sort of. But yeah, that's nitpicking, and that's changing the structure of the movie. I still think it's a fun movie, and yeah, I'm thoroughly entertained. And as I said before, all of these small plot threads that you can just pick and choose. You can choose to not care about Poe at all, and you're still gonna have a lot of good, fun story arcs.
Yeah.
Because you could just follow this cartel business and the DEA business and all of these small characters.
Yeah, and it's just that Cameron Poe, Nicolas Cage's character, gets the most focus. Yeah, because they wanted to focus on him. But yeah, there are a bunch of other stories being told around. That's why I said this could easily be a 10-hour limited series where they just focus on each different character. Let's talk about Nicolas Cage then, since this is the Nicolas Cage podcast. Because you weren't a fan of the character, but were you a fan of the acting of Nicolas Cage as the character?
Gotta say, now that we've seen so many Nicolas Cage movies, we see the progression.
Yeah.
It's one thing that I would have definitely had a problem with and was very confused about is his weird southern-ish accent. But since we've seen so many of his movies, it's he probably just decided he wanted to do that and nobody could stop him, so I guess let's just
I've heard a lot of people talking about I read some review trying to say everyone from I think it's Tennessee or something doesn't sound like him. I promise. It's so I think people have a problem or not. They notice the accent. Yeah. But that's also it's for me. It's part of his charm. He just sounds so damn nice.
I just think it's one of those Nicolas Cage quirks that I've grown to respect.
Oh yeah.
But no, I think it's good. He does a good job, and now he really has evolved from The Rock to be the full-fledged action hero.
Oh yes, yes.
So now he's there. Now he's on the top, the action hero. In the same vein as like Bruce Willis and Schwarzenegger, I guess.
Yeah,
he's up
like
there.
Van Damme.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. That's also kind of why I like the. I guess that's more meta. Because that's not so much the character being like developed as it is Nicolas Cage. Like, but when we see him in the beginning of the movie, we see him like doing handstand push-ups and meditating. It's like, this is not your average Nicolas Cage. He is Action Man Nicolas Cage.
Yeah, and then the long hair.
Yes. Oh, the 5 o'clock shadow. Oh my God. He is.
Yeah. So
what
Nicolas
a man.
Cage is he's perfect in this role.
Yes.
I'd say. This is one of those roles he's born to do.
And it's kind of funny. We forgot to talk about that in the last episode because he didn't really have a lot of. We didn't talk much about like the rage cage aspect because there wasn't much.
All right.
In The Rock, there was a couple of times like Zeus's butthole was kind of like him screaming and yelling, or Freeze Mister was kind of a rage cage. Here though, he is so like calm and collected all the time.
Yeah.
There is no rage cage here, which it was sad because it's fun to watch the rage cage, but it's also like I'm glad he didn't
strengthening the character in a way.
Yes, I'm glad he didn't like freak out as Cameron Poe because that would have ruined the character. It wouldn't have fit at all. So I guess that's like admirable of him to like restrain his acting so that actually fits the character. And not just, well, I'm going to be me now. No, he's actually playing the character. I like that. Because imagine him, like, I don't know, in the middle of the plane, going like, it wouldn't have worked at all.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, as I said, it strengthens the character that it seems like in every scene and every second he is calculating his next moves and he's always knowing what to do and he's laser focus on his goal, sort of.
Yes.
And I think Nicolas Cage really portrays that well, even though he's a very subdued character who doesn't say that much in the movie. He's sort of the strong silent type.
Yeah, another admirable trait.
Yeah, he does talk. It's not like he's quiet.
No.
But he talks quietly, I guess. And again, I think that's. It's really interesting that Nicolas Cage can convey so much emotion and sort of, I wouldn't say depth, but I would say what's going on in the head of that character, even though he's not saying anything and barely even physically responding to anything.
Yeah.
But by the way, that's also a very, very action hero, borderline. When we groaned, Mary Sue. Mary Sue is about him when he's taking control of the plane and he gets shot in the arm and it doesn't even.
Oh yeah,
he just keeps walking.
It's so awesome. I mean, he just nudges him. Come on. Oh, that's But yeah, that's a little much, but it's so cool.
So I think Nicolas Cage is great in this movie. I wouldn't change really anything from his performance.
No.
I would change something from his character, but not his performance. Definitely.
Sure. Yeah, and I mean, he does a like. I wouldn't say this is some of his best work, but that is not because of his acting. It's more because the character isn't very nuanced.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, but
he does the best he can.
Yeah, exactly. As an actor, it's some of his better work because he really like embodies Cameron Poe as a character, as one note as he is.
Yeah, I wouldn't. Yeah, this is one of the few movies I'd say where you don't look at Nicolas Cage, you look at Cameron Poe.
Oh yeah. You
don't think of him like, oh, it's Nicolas Cage.
No, yeah, exactly. And you're just waiting for him to do the Nicolas Cage things. No, he is Cameron Poe. Yeah. For better or for worse.
And he has great chemistry with, I think, every other actor.
Yes.
They're so good. It just every character or every actor in this movie just great chemistry with everyone.
Yeah, and all because he managed to have like little interactions with almost every character, and even if it's like a small thing, like he barely talks to Dave Chappelle, but even they seem to like have chemistry. They seem like they are two people on that plane, not just two actors.
Yeah.
Or even his wife, who they barely meet each other in the movie. There's one scene in the beginning and one scene in the end, but you still like fully like buy the fact that he has waited for this day for 7 years, even though he leaves her when on the motorcycle and everything. Yeah, well, except for that part. And I even talking about that scene. I like the fact, which they didn't play up too much, but the fact that it's the first time he's meeting his daughter, and it isn't just it isn't just an immediate embrace. She's like shy at first because like he's bleeding and there's a burning plane wreckage in the background and everything. And she's like 7 years old and meeting him for the first time. It's nice that she didn't just like Daddy. But then, of course, you know how children talk.
Yeah.
Like gremlins,
Yeah, obviously.
That was also a nice little touch. But of course, it just for a few seconds, and of course, like, oh, Daddy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, gotta just say, John Malkovich is really fun in this movie.
Yes, we haven't talked a lot about that, but he is... maybe not one of like the great movie villains, but he's a lot of fun.
Yeah, and you really get that he is this fucking psychotic, maniac, dangerous, smart guy.
Yeah.
It's very close to like being a Joker knockoff, but still doing his own thing.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly what the exchange is, but someone like asks him, "Are you crazy?" And he's like, "According to my last psych eval, yes." Like, no. Yeah. There's a lot of that.
Also, this when he threatens the pilot and he say, "But who will fly? If you shoot me, who will fly the plane?"
Yeah.
I never planned that far ahead, and you really feel, yeah, he doesn't. I mean, he planned this whole heist, but. He could just shoot this guy out of spite. He could do that.
They do imply that he had kind of planned for it because the Swamp Thing character does know how to fly a plane, and he's obviously in on the plan. Yeah,
but that's before the Swamp Thing is on the plane.
Of course.
So if he shot him there, they would be fucked.
Yeah.
But I buy it that he would do it.
Oh yeah. One thing though, I think they overdo it on how long he's been in jail, because he's 39 years old, they say, and he's been in prison for 25. So he's been in prison. He's only been free for 14 years.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing that must have been like his first 14 years, and then he went into like juvenile hall. So he's supposed to be this maybe he's not like known to the public, but at least like the DEA agents and the prison people know who he's like, oh, he's this infamous criminal. But it feels like most of his time is just spent in jail, so I guess all the infamous stuff he's done is in jail. It would have been more fun if he was like more of like a public figure, like everyone knows, like, oh, he did that the infamous bombing of whatever, but I don't know.
I mean, you could, if you want to, talk about maybe they count like a juvenile correction facility, and maybe he's been there since he was like 6, and maybe he was out like 1 year, then he was incarcerated for like 10 years, is out for 2 years.
I was thinking like that too, but it felt because
But it is a stretch, and you need to like think about it.
It's kind of like what's his name? Not the actor, the inmate Charlie Bronson. Like the crimes he did to be in jail they're bad, but they're not that bad. I mean, he robbed a jewelry store, and I think he shot someone. But then why he's become infamous is for all the stuff he did in prison. But for a character like Cyrus the Virus, it would have been better if he was like an infamous bank robber or terrorist or something. But no, he's just he murdered people in jail. Oh, okay. Like, how did he even get in contact with the South American drug lord people? I don't know.
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter. It's just something I thought about. Like, so he's been in jail since he was 14. Jesus Christ. What did he do?
Yeah.
Maybe he bombed a post office when he was 14. Who knows? Yeah, hey, okay.
Yeah, I just think you shouldn't think about it.
No, of course not. It's just supposed to be like this. Oh, he's a product of the prison system.
And I gotta say, one of the weirdest characters in this movie, it's fun to see just because you like him, but Steve Buscemi's character, that's a weird thing to put in this movie.
Yeah, he doesn't really have anything to do.
No.
If there's anything you could cut out of this movie, it's him.
Yeah. Because I was thinking of that, because when for people who haven't seen it, there's this guy who he comes on like this Hannibal Lecter straitjacket mouth guard thing.
Yeah, he's...
and they're like, he's the most infamous serial killer. He killed like 30 women, and they release him, and he's on the plane, and he just more or less sit around, saying some remarks, being a little creepy, and then at one point he goes off the plane and have a tea party with a girl, and you think, oh.
Yeah, he's gonna murder her, yeah. But
and
then he doesn't.
Yeah. But that's what he does.
Yeah, he fills no purpose, but I don't mind that character's in the movie, which is, I don't know, it's strange, but he is interesting enough that I guess you kind of constantly, you're just waiting for him to like explode, because he's known for like just murdering people. Literally like an insane person, but he never does. I don't know.
It feels like they put him in there because they need some tension. But this movie is totally tension. It's just tension throughout the movie. We don't need more tension.
Yeah, I can't say that the movie would be less interesting without him. No. But since he is there, cutting him out now would almost ruin the movie, because he is a fun character for what little purpose he fills, if any at all.
And Steve Buscemi does a great job.
Yes, because he's fucking Steve Buscemi.
Yeah.
He's never bad.
Oh, true. Not even in the Adam Sandler movies.
No. He is the like the little spark of fun in a lot of Adam Sandler movies. Like his character in Billy Madison is great. He saves the ending of that dumb movie.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's much else to say. It's fun to see John Cusack not be the main character.
Yeah.
He's always the main character in every movie he is in. Even like the shitty like direct-to-DVD action movies he does nowadays, he's always like the main character. But here, he plays a solid support character, and I think he's almost better that way. I mean, he's done much better work as the main character and stuff like High Fidelity, and I am a big fan of Grosse Point Blank. But like, sometimes I think he works better as a support character, and he definitely does in this one. Like, if the movie focused on him, that would be boring, I think. Because he's not an action guy.
Yeah, true. But I mean, John Cusack is always. I always liked him.
Oh yeah, he's always good. Just like Steve Buscemi, he's always good.
Yeah, he's always good. But yeah, he should make more this kind of role.
Yeah, instead of doing, because he's basically doing the same thing that Bruce Willis is doing nowadays, just not on the same scale. Like, just doing any shitty direct-to-DVD thriller or action movie he can, because he can say, I want $5 million. Oh, here you go, thanks. And he's he's fine. He doesn't give a shit. But he should do. He should try. Well, he kind of like Nicolas Cage does nowadays, but he does it because he has like hundreds of millions of dollars in back tax, so he has to do it. There might be a similar thing with John Cusack. I don't know. But he should try to do what Nicolas Cage does. Other than those kind of movies, to do like a weird like side character in an indie movie, or do like a pig or I don't know, like he was like a side character in Kick-Ass, even though that was not a great movie, but you know what I mean. try to not be the star in every movie because it's not working for him. Obviously, it would be fun to see him in more of a almost like in a character actor kind of role in a supporting role. Have him have like a resurgence of his career because nobody talks about John Cusack anymore. That's sad because he's a great actor.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't even remember what I saw him last in.
The last thing I can remember that I watched specifically because it's John Cusack and I want to watch it because it's him. Was what the fuck is it called? Ice Harvest, which that's over 10 years ago.
Oh. That's not no. No.
It's Oliver Platt, Billy Bob Thornton, 2005. Jesus Christ.
I saw one movie which like this super weird, super bad, like crime drama.
Well, he does a lot of those.
Yeah, what was that called? The Bag Man, I think it was.
The Bag Man, never heard of it. Well,
yeah, The Bag Man. That was a bad movie.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know. Okay, I say Ice Harvest, but I have seen him other stuff, of course, because that was 2005. He did 1408 in 2007, which is a great movie. And he did do, which was a smaller role like that. He should have just kept making those movies. He made Love and Mercy, where he played the singer in Pet Shop Boys when he's older. I don't know if you've seen that movie. It's fucking amazing. It's about Brian Wilson, the main the frontman of Beach Boys. And it takes place during the time that they make the Pet Sounds album. They're like big kind of their Sgt. Pepper album. And then it fast forwards 20 years later or something like that, and it focuses. It goes back and forth, and he plays Brian Wilson as the older. He plays the older Brian Wilson in the 80s, and he's great. Paul Dano is great as the younger Brian Wilson, and the movie is just amazing. You should check that one out. Yeah, that's a serious recommendation. Even if you don't like Pet Shop Boys, or not Pet Shop Boys, Beach Boys.
Oh, I just read a trivia about Con Air now.
Oh,
I don't know what I think about that.
Okay, what did it say?
So, Kid Rock, Kid Rock.
Yes.
He made a song called American Badass.
Yeah?
It's based on Cameron Poe.
Oh my god! Well, now I have to listen to that. I'm checking that out as soon as we're done with this. Yeah, well, it's a perfect description. He is an American badass.
American Badass.
Oh.
Another thing I was thinking of, Con Air is a pretty bad name of a movie, isn't it? It's a pretty bad name.
I think it's catchy. I think I think it is. Con Air, and you see the especially with the poster and everything.
Because I when I saw it, I felt that was pretty good, better name. If you call it Jailbird, which the plane is called. The plane is called Jailbird.
Yeah, I know, but then that would, I don't know. That sounds more like a 60s comedy. Jailbird. I don't know.
Yeah, I think Con Air seems so lame.
But I mean, it's a play on
yeah, I know.
Airlines within the air. And because they're a bunch of convicts. They're Con Air. I don't know.
I know. But it's,
I haven't really pondered over it. I'm neither here nor there. It's the name of the movie, I suppose. I think it's silly in the movie that Cyrus comes up with Con Air, like, "Welcome aboard, Con Air." Like, yeah. Shut up. If I'm gonna criticize the name for anything, it's that.
Okay, fine. Yeah. So, any reviews of this?
Yes. It didn't get as good reviews as The Rock, which now in hindsight, or like 30 years later, almost 25 years later, really perplexes me. But I guess at the time, it doesn't have as much action. It isn't as fast-paced. So I can see why people then thought it was not as good. But it did get a few good reviews. It got a 52 on Metascore, or Metacritic. And the best one is an 8 out of 10 from Washington Post. It says, Con Air, a summer blast of a movie, teaches us many things. Producer Jerry Bruckheimer never met an explosion, car crash, or 20 tough guys talking trash he didn't like. Yeah. Nicolas Cage is one of our most enjoyable screen heroes. As long as you're funny, you can literally get away with murder in a movie. Well, I don't know what he means by that, but okay. And then Roger Ebert, who... Well, he liked The Rock, right? Yeah, I think he did.
Yeah, I think so.
He likes this one as well. But it's kind of funny, because that one he just said was like a quintessential action movie. Like, great. Nothing weird about it, just a good action movie. But this one he thinks is absurd. He says, this is a movie that knows it's absurd and does little to deny it. No. And I understand what he's saying, because this is definitely done... It's like a wink, wink, nudge, nudge movie. They know they're making a silly action movie. But I mean, I would definitely call The Rock absurd before I call Con Air absurd, because that movie is just strange.
Well,
oh my God! Here's actually someone who mentions The Rock from New York Times. 7 out of 10. The colorfully written Con Air is a solid chip off The Rock, pumped up and very well cast with the prettiness and polish of advertising art. Okay, what? And the worst it got, because then there's a bunch of middling stuff, and let's see here, it actually got a few negative ones. The worst one it's got was from Dallas Observer, 2 out of 10. Jesus. While Tyro director, I don't know if Tyro's a movie, Tyro director Simon West fills Con Air with all the slam-bang action and well-honed wisecracks that were the more positive qualities of its predecessors, the film brims with even more of, with all their worst qualities. Okay.
Oh, okay.
I have to disagree.
Then I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah, sure. So it's the best and the worst of action movies. I don't know about that. Because there's nothing terrible about this movie.
No.
If anything, you can say some stuff is middling. Like, yeah, the pacing isn't the greatest. It's kind of slow at times, but not in a bad way. But it's just like, you know. But I mean, there's nothing bad about it. It's just mediocre at points. So
yeah.
I don't see that. From Slate, Con Air is boring to the marrow. Like, what? What do you mean it's boring?
Boring? I would never call this movie boring.
They drag a sports car behind a cargo plane. That's fun. And then they crash it into an air tower. That's fun. What do you mean it's boring? Fuck you.
So, The Rock got a 7.4
yes.
on IMDb.
Yes.
And the Con Air is a 6.9.
So what are people saying? I mean, that's not that big of a difference. So it's half a point, so to speak. But
most people say more or less what we say, that it's kick back and have fun, so ridiculous that it's kind of fun.
Yeah.
Super fun and ridiculous 90s blockbuster action fest. Was it solid action movie? Plenty of action, not plenty of brains.
No.
That's a 7 out of 10. That's
well, I could agree to that. Yeah.
So yeah, people seem to like it, but they all seem to agree that it is a stupid movie, but it's a fun movie. There are some people who are very angry because there was one here. Title is "Nice Use of the Oscar, Nicolas Cage."
yeah.
So, in the grand tradition of actors who win Oscars and then proceed to ruin the Academy's credibility by starring in terrible movies, Nicolas Cage made quick work of his career boost by appearing in this horrible action movie, and has been a downward spiral ever since. This film is downright unpleasant, but I guess that's not much room for there's not much room for a film about a bunch of escaped maximum security inmates to be anything else. Cage looks, sounds, and acts ridiculous, and John Malkovich is typically unbearable as a sardonic and monotone ringleader. Only two things make this film watchable at all: John Cusack and the pleasant theme song. 2 out of 10.
Oh, Jesus! But when was that review written?
2009.
2009. Okay, yeah, because that's kind of before Nicolas Cage.
The Renaissance.
Yeah, the Renaissance, where he started doing smaller movies.
Yeah,
I mean, it's because that kind of started back then. It kind of started with Kick-Ass, because it was like, oh, Nicolas Cage in a supporting role where he's actually good.
Yeah.
But yes, I guess that was just before that started happening, and now I would say he's more or less back with Pig.
Yeah, and I do think it's weird to say that everything was bad since this movie, because I mean, movie after this one next week is Face Off, which is, I would say,
that's
from my memory at least, that's like one of his best movies.
Yeah, and it's definitely the best action movie he's made. Oof, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it is one of those like up there top 10 action movies all time.
Oh yeah,
definitely.
I guess that guy didn't watch Face Off, or maybe he doesn't. Maybe he doesn't like action movies. I can see what he's saying. Like, as soon he does all the for the most part, he did like quirky, very very disparate, like different movies, all up to the point where he wins an Oscar for a very like emotionally like powerful performance. And the first thing he does is 3 big budget schlock Hollywood blockbuster action movies. I can see his point, but
I did read somewhere that this is it's his holy action trinity. It's The Rock, Con Air, and Face Off.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I agree. It's just unfortunate that The Rock is one of them.
Yes, exactly.
But I agree, because it is his big action break. I don't think he has any other like this big action movies back to back in his career.
No, I don't think he has any on this level. I mean, Gone in 60 Seconds is not the same thing. The National Treasure movies they're not action movies, they're adventure movies. Very different. Very different.
True. There is some action movies like in the Renaissance. He's done some action movies, and on this level. Well, no, there's like indie movies.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about like Mandy. Isn't that like an action movie? I haven't seen it, but you've seen it.
There's not that much action in it, actually.
Okay.
They really sold it on the action scenes, but that's more of a mood piece.
Yeah.
It's very good, but it's not really an action movie.
And then we have Ghost Rider 2, so I mean...
sure, yeah. I haven't seen that one, but I've heard a lot of good about it, so yeah.
Oh, yeah. But yeah, so this is like his top action.
Oh, yes.
Career,
yes, definitely.
But yeah, so what are you going to give it?
Let's see here. I have to see. What did I give The Rock? I gave it like a 4. Yeah, a 4. Okay, because I looked on IMDb, and just like The Rock, but way back in the day, I gave this a 7 out of 10. And I might actually go with a 7, because I'm thinking like 5 is mediocre, run of the mill, and that's not it. 6 is almost too close to mediocre, so we don't do half points. I'm gonna give it a weak 7.
All right. So I'm gonna be stingy and give it a strong 6. It is probably a weak 7.
No, but that makes sense. Yeah.
But as you said last time, we need to be a little more restrained this time.
Yes.
So I'm gonna give it a very, very strong 6.
Yes. I probably should too, but it's whatever.
Yeah.
The numbers are ultimately kind of arbitrary, but we do it for fun.
So yeah, that was Con Air.
Yeah.
A fun movie. I still won't change the channel if it comes on.
Nope.
But I'm not gonna put Cameron Poe as in the Hall of Fame of action heroes.
Oh, I'm buying a poster and putting him over my bed. Definitely.
So you can look at him when you fall asleep.
Oh yeah. I mean, I was completely sold. I was like, my eyes were like sparkling, and I was like, oh, Cameron Poe. I completely fell in love with him. Pure man crush. Definitely. Oh, I gotta mention one last thing just quickly. Because it was something I thought of, and I should have written it down. And you reminded me when you read one of the reviews. The main theme is awesome with the wheel guitar.
Yeah.
But the rest of the movie, or the rest of the soundtrack, sounds like it's all like synthesizer rock trying to sound like the main theme. It's terrible. It's just that one theme song that they keep repeating over and over again. But then when you hear the rest of the soundtrack, here and there you hear, and it's like sounding. And I was just, what the fuck is this? Why didn't you just have that guy play the solo over the entire movie? I don't know. It's just a small thing, but I just picked it up.
I don't think I noticed. I didn't the sound music at all.
Okay.
Or score.
Well, then next time you watch it, if you watch it, just because they accentuate.
I will watch it again.
Oh yeah, every explosion, every time something cool happens, it's all accentuated by a wee guitar. It's so cool. I just wanted to mention that. Yeah.
So that was Con Air.
Yes.
From 1997. Next week is another movie from 1997, Face Off, which we said is probably going to be the best action movie in this list.
Yeah,
probably.
That's his best action movie.
Yeah, and
I mean,
so
just
looking forward to that.
Yeah, and just looking at the score, Jesus Christ, I won't mention it, but yeah, it's definitely got better reviews. Oh my God.
Also, it's a lot of levels of acting in that movie too.
Oh yes. Oh yeah.
So it's gonna be interesting to think about it in that way.
Yeah, because I haven't seen it. Just like The Rock and this, I haven't seen it in a long time. So I'm interested in rewatching it.
So yeah, is Nicolas Cage gonna be good, or is it only John Travolta who's good?
I don't know.
So. Yeah, that's next week.
That's next week. That's that. Yeah, so that was Con Air. Next week is Face Off. And as always, if you want to listen to these episodes earlier, like a month or more earlier, we are available on patreon.com/don'tmakeascene, where I'm uploading all these episodes as we record them. But they will be available on YouTube and Spotify and everything. A little more than a month later. So you can stay ahead of the curve for only $3 a month. So please check us out there. There's also a bunch of other stuff, exclusive episodes of my other podcast, the Spoilercast, commentary tracks, and sometimes exclusive videos. I'm working more on those nowadays, and also you will be supporting us and helping us continue making this show. So check us out there. There are links everywhere. And other than that, thank you so much for listening. And we'll see you in the next episode where we talk about Face Off. But until then, have a good one. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Madness in the Method is part of the Please Don't Make a Scene podcast network. It is produced and directed by Tobias Vedén after a concept by Christopher Billén. It is hosted by Tobias Vedén and Christopher Billén. Executive producer is Annika Vedén. If you want to be a supporter of the show, please check us out on patreon.com/don'tmakeascene, where you can get early access to episodes, exclusive episodes of other podcasts, commentary tracks, and much, much more. And we want to give a huge shout out to our Patreon supporters, Laura Kinney, Rasmus Jonsson, Mom, and Dad.